Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Wetherby Racecourse here on Saturday. It is the 29th of October 2022. It's Charlie Hall Chase Day from Wetherby, and I'm going to look at the stakes races 3 and 4. But before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world. And remember to join me this week for my Melbourne Cup preview, and also next week for my Breeders' Cup preview. It's going to be an excellent week of racing. But let's start the week basically with the Wetherby card. It's one of the bigger fixtures of the early jump season, and it's always a good race. So we're going to look at races 3 and 4, the 3 o'clock in the feature 3:35. The third race to 3 o'clock, it is the Grade 2 BET365 Hurdle. It's a Grade 2 event for Class 1 horses going for a $67,500 purse. Races for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have 6 horses going the distance of ground here, 4,800 meters or 3 miles over the hurdle course. Gonna take the 2-horse Sporting John as a top selection. Let's go 2-4-5 in your tri-cash trifecta. 2-4-5 tri-cash trifecta, top selection of 2-horse Sporting John. This 7-year-old gun by Getaway here. Philip Hobbs trains. Tom O'Brien gets to mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 15th of January at Warwick. Soft ground, 3 miles an eighth in a Class 2 handicap hurdle to a handicap last season. He was running decently. He won that day. He ran not decently. That day he ran great. He won by 3 lengths. He stalked. He jumped like a winner throughout. He quickened up nicely. It was a very good race sitting closer. I think that's the thing with him. When he sits a little bit behind, he doesn't really get these good races. When he's more forwardly into it early on, that's when he runs better. If he's going to do that again today, I think he could find the winners enclosure. 2 back in a Class 2 handicap hurdle at Cheltenham, 10th of December over the 3 miles. He finished 4th by 9 lengths that day. And, he sat back early. He moved a little bit late, but, he was just facing a little bit tough competition, high weight, and I thought he was just too far out of it. It wasn't his day to win. And then the 13th of November last year at Cheltenham on good ground, 3 miles listed handicap hurdle Class 1 event. Even with 166 pounds high weight that day, he won by 2 1/4 lengths that day. And again, he sat mid-pack most race. He jumped terrifically. He quickened up nicely, and he had the jump done on the run in a very good race for this horse there. He runs very well fresh, so that shouldn't be a problem. Last time he in the 2020-2021 campaign, he was running over the chases where he just wasn't doing well. He ran in the mid-May novices chase at Aintree in April 2021 where he pulled up out of it. What can you do? And then he fell at Cheltenham in the Brown Advisory novices chase in March of 2021. Again, what can you do? He just had a very, very bad mistake a few from home. His most recent victory over the chases actually came at Sandown over the 2.5 miles in the Group 1 Skilly Isles Novice Chase, winning by 3 3/4 lengths. He really beat a good group of horses home. It was a little lackadaisical early on, but he really, coming home late, that was really good for him. But back to the hurdles here today. I think he's loaded. I think the 4-horse Proshima wouldn't surprise me if he gets a good race here today. Most recently at Chepstow last month in a Class 2 handicap hurdle, he probably needed the race. He finished 7th by 12 lengths that day, and he just never really got into it. He had to be used that day off the bench. That tells me he needed the race. Coming back here second off the bench, not the world's toughest race, getting the extra half a mile to 3 miles. I think he could really run a good race here. His races when he took him to the chases last season, they weren't bad at all. He just hasn't won, but they haven't been half bad at all. I'm going to use him as your wise guy horse here at 4-1 in the play spot. But to recount my selection for the third race, 3 o'clock from Wetherby, it's Grade 2 BET365 Hurdle. Let's take the 2-horse Sporting John. Give kudos to the 4-horse Proshima. 2-4-5 tri-cash trifecta. 2-4 in your place pot. The fourth race, the 3:35 featured, it is the Grade 2 Charlie Hall Chase. It's a Grade 2 event for Class 1 horses going for a purse of $135,000. Race for 5-year-olds and upwards. 7 horses are entered to go 4,800 meters or 3 miles over the chase course. I'm going to take the 4-horse Ahoy Senor as a top selection. Let's go 4-1-5 in your tri-cash trifecta. 4-1-5 tri-cash trifecta. Top selection to 4-horse Ahoy Senor. 2-1 here, favorite stateside. But if I'm not mistaken, Brave Man's Game right now in the UK markets is the favorite, 3-2. So that's kind of weird. And he's second choice here in the States, Brave Man's Game. But my top selection is 4-horse Ahoy Senor. 7-year-old Gillen by Dylan Thomas. Derek Fox gets the mount for Lucinda Russell. The horse's most recent outing came the 8th of April at Aintree, 3 miles an eighth in the Grade 1 mid-May novices chase. Race I always mispronounce part of that. And he won by 5 lengths that day. And, he basically, had a few mistakes throughout the race, but they weren't so costly mistakes. When he had the run in, he got the job done. Coming here today, he runs fresh. He likes running here at Wetherby. I'm going to give him another shot, but he has to be a little bit more consistent. Last time out early on in the stages of the race, he was very erratic. 2 back on the 16th March at Cheltenham, 3 miles in the Grade 1 Brown Advisory Novices Chase. He finished second by 2.5 lengths that day. And again, he just had some mistakes that day, which probably cost him. He was with him. He was setting the pace. He had the lead for a split portion. He just couldn't keep up late. But those few quirky jumps got to him. And then at Wetherby on the 5th of February for the rescheduled 3 mile Grade 2 Talented Novices Chase, he won by 5.5 lengths and at 73 cents to the dollar. That was probably the best race of his life that day. Again, he jumped well. He quickened up nicely. He got the job done over the course and distance. And then a Boxing Day in the Quota Star Novices Chase, he finished second by 7.5 lengths behind Brave Man's Game, who's running back in this one today. That particular afternoon, he was with them early on, and then he just had a few awkward jumps, which really cost him late. But coming here off the bench, he runs very well fresh. Back to the chases. If he jumps a consistent race, it wouldn't surprise me if he wins by a dozen. So we'll use him here. A bit of a upsetter, Eldorado Elaine, the 8-year-old gelding, wouldn't surprise me for BJ Powell, Brendan Powell, excuse me. Most recently, the horse ran at Aintree in the Bull Chase, where the horse finished 7 by 42 lengths, facing very tough competition. This horse just wasn't getting into it. Never really was comfortable. Never really jumped a terrific race. Before then, the Reiner Chase at Cheltenham over the 3 miles, he finished third by 15 lengths. And again, the two in front of him were much better, but he was the best of the losing pair, shall I say. But then his most recent victory in the Denman Chase over at Newbury over the nearly 3 miles, he won by 2.25 lengths. And that day, basically, he got the job done, a few from home. Coming here, it wouldn't surprise me if he shows up with his hidden form at 5-1. He's your wise guy horse, but I do prefer Ahoy Senor before him. But to recap my selection for the 4th, the 335 from Wetherby, it's the Grade 2 Charlie Hall Chase. Let's take the 4 horse Ahoy Senor. Give kudos to the 1 horse Eldorado Lane. 415 Tri-Cash Trifecta, 4-1 in your place pot. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5. Good luck, everybody.